Jesus never moved a real mountain in the Bible. So why did he say you could tell a mountain to move? Jesus said, faith moves impossible. Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said comes from Matthew 17, verses 14 through 20. You can find these commands of Jesus every weekday at our Bible plan at bible.today.church. Today we're going to be reading from the New Living Translation. At the foot of the mountain, a large crowd was waiting for them. A man came and knelt before Jesus and said, "Lord, have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him." Jesus said, "You faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Now, before we go on to verse 18, let's just unpack that a little bit. Jesus is saying this to his disciples. You faithless and corrupt people, how much longer do I have to put up with you? And so let's go on. Verse 18. Then Jesus rebuked the demon in the boy, and it left him. And from that moment, the boy was well. Afterward, the disciples asked Jesus privately, "Why couldn't we cast out that demon?" "You don't have enough faith," Jesus told them. "I tell you the truth, if you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it would move. Nothing would be impossible to you." Now, Jesus is using an extreme contrast here to make his point that faith moves impossible. Looking at the timeline, this was right after the Transfiguration, where Jesus was on a mountain and started to glow, and Moses and Elijah were there. And this was near the end of Jesus' ministry. He had walked on water, he had fed thousands, he had raised the dead. And long before this, he had given the disciples the authority to cast out demons. In Matthew 10, he did that. And yet they still were having issues and still were not seeing the things that Jesus had promised that they could do. And Jesus gives them this extreme analogy of moving a mountain. But in fact, Jesus never moved a mountain himself. So why? Why would he use this? Well, faith isn't controlling God like a genie in a bottle. It's not about us being in control, but faith is realizing God is in control. Faith is about relationship and trust, not just the results. And Jesus got pretty frustrated with the disciples, and with good reason. They already had what they needed, and he had told them what to expect. Following his example is what we need to do. Not doing our own thing, but what the Father is doing. So why did Jesus never move a mountain? Well, he wasn't called to do that. John 5:19 through 20. So Jesus explained, "I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He does only what he sees the Father doing, and whatever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he is doing. In fact, the Father will show him how to do even greater works than healing this man. Then you will truly be astonished." You see, faith isn't a wish, it's action that is not based on the circumstances. The disciples believed more in their own weakness and humanity than in the power and position they had been given. Don't we do the same thing when we don't take God at his word? And you don't need giant-sized faith. Even the tiniest amount is enough because you don't have to be enough. God already is more than enough. It's not you trying to fill up what's lacking in our faith. But faith is confidence beyond the circumstance by taking God at his word and acting on it. In 1 John 5, 14 through 20, or 14 through 15, it says, "And we are confident that he hears us whenever we ask for anything that pleases him. And since we know he hears us, when we make our request, we also know that he will give us what we ask for." Faith doesn't rely on anything other than God's promises. And a little dab will do more than dynamite. Even mountains will move. And we have to have that kind of faith no matter what the circumstances look like, because faith literally does move impossible. That's what Jesus said. How can you put that into action today? What mountain do you need to speak to today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really does mean a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember to follow Jesus today. Love first.